life that I'm living, I pray I make it through the night. As I ride through my city,
Yo, welcome to another episode of Solo the Culture Podcast. It's your host, Hob, and we back, man. Like I told y'all, I'm gonna have another sports one for y'all real soon. So we're gonna get into some March Madness on this one. The NBA, they talk about expansions into Las Vegas and Seattle. We're gonna talk about the WNBA. They just got a new CBA, which allows their players to get paid more. Just the NBA in general, we're gonna talk about the fucking Grizzlies and the Timberwolves possibly moving over to the Eastern Conference and what that'll shape the league to look like. And not only that, I think we're gonna go ahead and finish off with the MVP race. Everything that's been going on with Wemby campaigning for it, Jokic averaging a triple double, Luka having the time of his life the last 2 weeks, with him dropping like a fucking 230-point triple double, 61 points, 50 points. So we're gonna really get into everything that's been going on with sports. Not so much the MLB. I know the MLB just started up. Same thing with the NFL draft coming around real soon. We'll get into that a little bit later down the line, but we're gonna definitely get into this basketball stuff that's going on this week. So, starting off, man, March Madness. March is already marching. Like we've seen games that have gone down to the wire. We already seen a possible Cinderella team with High Point beating Wisconsin. And damn near, I'm pretty sure they play UConn right after that. They damn near beat UConn too. So it's like to kind of see what's going on, especially with a lot of these games that's coming up too, because we're in the Sweet 16 now. So this is when all the competition basically balances out. We're gonna see what teams are for real, what teams were frauds, what teams are just mediocre, what teams are great. So I'm excited for what's to come. But let's get into the first round of the Sweet 16 last night, or the first few games of the Sweet 16 last night. So for the first game, we had Texas versus Purdue. Purdue pulled it out 79-77. Personally, I thought Texas was going to take it. They're nice on both sides of the ball. And Purdue, even their last game, they were kind of shaky. I know Braden Smith had like 6 turnovers that game before they played Texas. They weren't knocking down shots. It was a shaky game. Even this game against Texas, they ended up winning off basically a tip in with 1 second left on the clock. So they barely beat Texas. And Texas was an 11 seed. So it's like, even with me, and I'm from Indiana, so I know a lot of people are going to be like, oh, damn, you're going against the home. Like, nah, it's not even me going against the home state. It's more just one of those things that I don't see it. I don't see it for Purdue. I know that they got a lot of shooters on their team. I know they got like a 1-2 punch out there with Braden Smith, and I forget the other guy's name. But it's one of those things that I don't know. I don't think they're making it past the Sweet 16. I think, yeah, obviously they going into the Elite Eight. I'm pretty sure they would have played they played whoever won with Arizona, because Arizona beat Arkansas last night. So I'm pretty sure next round they play Arizona, which Arizona, we're gonna get to them, but I did not know they was like legit like this. So, but we're gonna get into that. But Texas, I definitely saw them being that sleeper team after they beat Gonzaga. I ain't gonna lie. I thought they would be one of the team, or I guess you could call them a Cinderella. I really just saw them as a sleeper team because I've been hearing a lot about them all year. So it was like when they beat motherfucking Gonzaga, I was like, okay, Texas might be that, you feel me? They might be that low seed that comes up and you know what I'm saying, make some shocking wins. But obviously they got put out last night. I like Texas. I don't know how many of their players are going to try to leave for the draft this year or this upcoming year, but they had a good run. I ain't gonna lie. It was a great run by them. I definitely wanted to see them go a little bit deeper. Uh, but running into a team like Purdue is understandable because Purdue has a lot of experience and a great coach out there. But it's one of those things that I don't see them making it past the Elite Eight. I ain't gonna lie. I think that they're gonna possibly which they play Arizona. So we're gonna see if they for real or not playing against Arizona. But because Arizona just they got it. 1 through 12, they got it. So I'm kind of excited to see what Purdue gonna do. You know what I'm saying? I know they got a lot against them right now, especially finna going into this next game, playing against Arizona and somebody that's as good as Arizona. But shout out to them. I personally want to see Texas win it. You feel me? Because of them being such a low seed. and being a sleeper team that nobody would have expected. So shout out to them. Shout out to Texas on having a great season, making it at least that deep into the even making it that deep into the dance is you know what I'm saying, exciting to do. So moving on, uh Iowa, Nebraska. I call Iowa to win. They end up winning 77-71. And they came back. I kind of tuned into this one. I didn't at the same time though. It was one of those things that when I saw the game, it was like 14-2. So I was like, okay, Nebraska finna run away with this. I turn it back on to say it's a close game. It's like 74, it's like 68 with Iowa winning. So I'm like, oh shit. Like maybe these boys, you feel me? Maybe Iowa really might be that low seed. That's for real. That might because they got some shooters. They playing hard on both sides of the ball. Nebraska, they're cool, you know what I'm saying? I haven't watched too many of their games this year. I didn't expect them to go to no Elite Eight or Final Four, period. But for them to come this far, they had to do something right. So shout out to those two teams. I think Iowa probably the way after seeing them play these last two games, depending on who they play next, which they do play Illinois next, which we're gonna get to their game probably a little bit later down the line. But actually next. But I think they could beat Illinois. I'm not gonna lie. Illinois, don't get me wrong, they have a good team, even with Stojakovic coming off the bench. But it's like I don't know. It comes down to shot making. And after watching Illinois last night, it's like, ugh, I don't know if their shot making is there consistently like it should be. You get what I'm saying? So, shout out to Iowa. They playing hard. So whoever runs into them boys after Illinois, or if they beat Illinois, or whoever runs into them after them, they better not take them sweet. Cause look, them boys playing like they ready to win something, and the coaching is great out there. The defense is great. So shout out to Iowa. I think that they're going to probably if anybody of any low seed makes it to at least the Final Four, it'll be them. So shout out to them. Hopefully they can be the sleeper team that everybody didn't think about. The next game, Illinois, Houston. This game right here was a game that I tuned in. I tuned in for the first half. And watching the first half, the defense was so great on both sides of the ball that neither team could make shots. I want to say they went into halftime. It was 24-22. Kingston Fleming was like 1 for 6 from the field. The Keaton Wagner, kid from Illinois, they're both freshmen, but they like really basically like the faces of their team right now. And they both were shooting terrible. I know the Wagner kid was like 2 for 6. Fleming was 1 for 6. They both couldn't get it going and going into the half. Neither team could knock down shots. And I think that's what really happened with Houston. Because even looking at their box score, let's see. The game came out 65-55. So it's a low scoring game already. Even here, Keaton Wagler, he shot 4 for 14. You feel what I'm saying? A lot of one of the Illinois, they starting guard, Boswell, 0 for 5. They forward, 6 for 13, which ain't too bad. It's about 50%, a little bit under 50%. But then when you go on Houston's side, you got Flemings, 4 for 10. Uzon, 2 for 11. Sinnett, 3 for 12. McCarty, 3 for 7. Miller, 0 for 4. You get what I'm saying? Mercy Miller, 0 for 4. So that's why I'm like, they couldn't knock down shots. It's not that Houston wasn't the better team, but it seemed like they more had a off night. You get what I'm saying? Defense on both sides was flowing. Like they were all over the ball on both sides from what I saw, especially in that first half. So that could possibly, or obviously have a major factor into what the outcome became. You get what I'm saying? But it's also like to see Houston go out like that, I'm kind of shitty about because I had between them and Michigan and winning the national championship. So I'm guessing I'm rocking with Michigan this year to win it all because Arizona, they still have shocked me. I'm not gonna lie. We're gonna get to them next, but it's just like I did not think that Arizona was this good all the way around. But I really have Houston and Michigan winning it all. I'm still rocking with Michigan. You feel what I'm saying? Because they on a tear right now, and I can't wait to see that. Actually, they play today. I want to say they play Alabama later on tonight. So to see that game, I'm ready to see that one to see how that plans out because I think it's gonna be a blowout. I think Michigan's just gonna run straight through them boys. But I'm not gonna lie. I really saw Houston doing something. I wanted for him to go ahead and get him a national championship and even Calvin Sampson because now at this point it's like after losing last year, I don't I wouldn't be surprised if Houston makes a coaching change. It might be one of those, it just might be that time to make a coaching change just because of how many times he came short. So shout out to Houston. I really thought y'all was gonna win it all. I'm not gonna lie. But it's like, it's tough. It's March. Anything happens in March. So at one bad night can fuck up your whole season, end it all. So shout out to them. Houston is one of the really last teams to have a bunch of seniors and juniors on their team, basically like having college vets, which is kind of crazy. Because even looking at Illinois' team, they had like what 3 freshmen starting. So it was like it's just to see that a team with vets and stuff, you kind of feel bad for them because you want them to pull it out, you want them to win. But like I said, March is marching. We'll see who's gonna win it all soon. But for Illinois side, just seeing their defense and be able to go or get past a Houston defense that's like that strenuous, I ain't gonna lie. I think they're gonna beat because I'm pretty sure they play Purdue next. Uh no, they play Iowa next. It is tough because Iowa they have great defense too. So it's like, ugh. But I don't know. I can see that going down to the wire again because Iowa's just a hungry team. I think that Illinois, they have the shot makers, they have the offensive talent to get past the Iowa team, but it's not gonna just be a cakewalk or we finna just, punch these motherfuckers right out the water. Like, nah, it's gonna be a dogfight. It's gonna be a dogfight. Like I said earlier, I can see Iowa making it to the Final Four or even a motherfucking uh national championship, possibly. Possibly. Not I don't know the national championship because how Arizona and Michigan are playing, but I could definitely see them making it to the Final Four just off beating teams like fucking Nebraska and motherfucking if they could come through and beat Illinois, like they possibly could go to the Final Four, possibly the national championship. Which I can't wait to see, you know what I'm saying? I think the Elite Eight starts on Sunday, if I'm not mistaken. So it's almost that time. It's getting closer and closer. This month is flying, but it's almost that time for sure. Moving on to the next game though. Arizona versus Arkansas. As we all know, there is a top 3 NBA draft pick. I don't care what nobody says. I've seen enough. The boy is him. Like, he is him. Whoever needs a point guard that's going to come up like and give a instant impact and can score the ball and play a little bit of defense, hey, go get him. You feel what I'm saying? Because it's one of those things that even after seeing him play against the last team that they played against, which they just played Arizona last night, and he dropped 28 3-3. So even before that, they played High Point. I'm sorry, UConn didn't play High Point. It was Arkansas that played High Point, and they beat him 94-88. But he dropped 36 points with fucking 6 assists on 50% shooting. So it's like to do that as a guard against a team that, yeah, High Point wasn't that great defensively, but they had shooters, you know what I'm saying? They were going back and forth with them, you get what I'm saying? But I honestly, he rocking and I'm rolling. I ain't even gonna lie. I think that Darius Acuff is shown to be like a next version of almost like a Stephon Marbury or even Allen Iverson damn near. Like but he could shoot the fucking ball from anywhere. He kind of like Kingston Fleming. They both could shoot the ball from anywhere. So it's like I'm really rocking with Darius A Cup. They did lose last night, 109-88. Ugly ass loss. They were getting. It was one of those things that I wouldn't even say they were getting fucked up. They just didn't have an answer to Arizona's paint presence. Like Arizona would dead ass come down the field, shoot a floater, or pass the ball, do like almost like a triangle offense, get the ball down to the block or right at the top of the free throw line, and they either float that bitch or they just dunking on them niggas. So it was like I just don't think that they had the center or the power forward presence that Arizona had, which is what killed them down the road or down the line because they just couldn't stop them from scoring. Like they would try to come down, score right quick. They would be in sets. They would be playing a decent defense, and then all of a sudden, Arizona find a little slip pass or a tough lay, something like that, or getting a turnover, getting them down the field. You get what I'm saying? Getting it down the court, and transition, getting transition buckets. So it's like, I think that Arizona was just a better team in this one. I don't think that Arkansas. I don't think it was too much more they could have done. Just don't think that they had the talent to keep up with the Arizona team like that. But on the flip side, Arizona, dog, they are literally a D1 team from fucking 1 through fucking 12. They got it. I ain't even gonna lie. I was watching, like, after watching them, at first I was kind of shaky on them. You feel what I'm saying? I'm like, you feel me? I know they're a complete team. I know they got a great coach. In fact, I think if I'm not mistaken, their coach did coach the USA team and there's a cup in 2024 or 2025. So they have the coaching, they have the talent. It's just, I don't know. I was just kind of, I don't know, just hesitant to really, really be like, okay, I'm gonna put my money on Arizona. You feel what I'm saying? So to see them play like in a big game like this, I'm like, fuck, these motherfuckers are for real. I'm not gonna lie. I want to see them go against Michigan so bad. I want to see those two teams battle. I hope that it could be for the national championship because of the fact that those two teams, they match up from 1 through 5. They match up like a motherfucker. And to see Arizona's paint presence, I know they got good guard play too, but their paint presence is crazy. The way that all these offensive rebounds they were grabbing last night, just put back dunks, getting up to the top of the key, floating that bitch, getting it on the block, drop step lay. Like, it's kind of insane to see. I know they got Cole Pete out there, and he's like their center or whatever, but it's like, fuck. I honestly did not. I didn't know. I'm not gonna lie. Y'all might say, "Oh shit, how the fuck you got a podcast? It's supposed to be." Yeah, I did not know. I didn't. I ain't even gonna lie. I thought that Arizona was one of those teams that's overhyped, and they would just go, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? They'll get put out by Sweet 16, Elite Eight. But nah, after seeing them, they could beat Duke. You feel what I'm saying? They could beat any team. They could possibly even beat Michigan. So it's like, I'm rolling with Arizona. I fuck with them. You know what I'm saying? I still feel like Michigan is gonna be the national championship winner this year, but I wouldn't be surprised if Arizona did it. Between those two, those are the only two picks I got is Arizona and motherfucking Michigan. I ain't even gonna cap. Now that Houston is out of it, uh, yeah, I definitely could see them two boys, those two teams really, because they both coached well. They both got the talent 1 through 12, really, shit, you could really take their bench and put them in and still win. So it's like, I'm really rocking with both teams. I really think that Arizona is gonna be a team that they especially with the amount of freshmen that they could be good for some years if they can retain some of their players. You feel what I'm saying? I know, I think their guard and Pete might be gone after this year, but it's like, hey, you still got all these other sophomores, juniors, seniors of y'all team that can stay and possibly win y'all back to back if they do win it this year. So shout out to Arizona. I think Arizona is going to be between them and Michigan. They're the teams to beat. Uh, I didn't expect Arkansas to go out like that, but like I said, Arizona was just pretty much just a better team. I'm not gonna lie, they were just a better team. But before we transition from college basketball, I kind of want to go back and talk about the previous rounds because AJ DeBansa. So he was a motherfucking man amongst boys. He dropped what 35 and 10 against. I want to say they did play Texas in the first round, and he was just a man. He scored basically half their fucking points, like literally half their points. So it's like golly, he's a man's the most. I'm pretty sure that if he wanted to go directly out of high school, he could have went directly out of high school. There's no doubt about it because college is clearly showing that there's no real competition for him. The way he's been playing, he scored half his team points against a great defensive team like Texas. So shout out to him. I know Dayron Peterson in Kansas, they got put out off a buzzer beater against St. John's, which was kind of crazy because they went on like a 25-9 run, and then all of a sudden, when it came down to that clutch moment, they just didn't switch. Nobody came to help. Nothing. They saw they mans got beat off the dribble, and they just let him go dead into his chest for the lay. So it's kind of like, hey, I don't know if they almost deserve to lose because they were shaky as fuck this whole entire fucking like last few weeks coming into the tournament. Kansas was just up and down, up and down. They never had like a solid run where they were just winning. So shout out to Kansas, but I didn't see them really, you know what I'm saying, coming in and making a real impact just because of the fact of how shaky that they have been. But another team that's kind of, I ain't gonna lie, I can see them being a little sleeper. Not really a sleeper because they're a 2 seed. Nobody's really talking about them, and I don't know why, but it's UConn. When they played Furman, Terrence Reed Jr., he had what, 31 and 27 rebounds? I literally watched the man 3 straight back-to-back offensive rebounds. Catch that junk, throw it back out. They brick. Catch that junk, throw it back out. They brick again. He got that bitch again, throw it back out. They miss again. Now he just fuck it. I'm gonna take matters in my own hands. Lay. Type shit. Like, bro, that motherfucker is a dog. I know he did it against Furman. You feel what I'm saying? And when they came back and played against UCLA, I think he only had like 10 points, 10 rebounds, or 12 rebounds, or something like that. But to still have a double-double in these type of games, it's like, fuck, like, this motherfucker is nice. I ain't gonna lie. Whoever needs a center, Chicago, Bulls, y'all need a center. Y'all better be looking at this motherfucker because I ain't gonna lie. He's I would offensively, I wouldn't say he's like oh, he could be a factor, but shit, on them boards, shit, he might be y'all next Dennis Rodman off of what I've seen so far. So it's like shit. Somebody who needs a center, there you go. That's a center for y'all right there. Like the boy is hooping. The boy is hooping. UConn, they play Michigan State today. In fact, today at 9. So it's like Michigan State though with Jeremy Fears. I personally, I fuck with Michigan. I'm going to rock with Michigan State in that one, UConn versus, because I'm going to go ahead and give y'all like my game predictions right now. I know I just kind of rode into that, but I'm finna give y'all my game prediction. Uh, but Michigan State versus UConn. I'm personally going UConn. I mean, Michigan State, just for the fact that I fuck with Tom Izzo. The team that he's built this year, they are built to win. Like Jeremy Fears, that's the one you got a true fucking point guard. You feel what I'm saying? And you got shooters all around him. And you got a paint presence. Versus UConn, I don't know, even watching them play against Furman, they just like, I don't know if it's offensively, they just not clicking yet right now. I'm not sure. Maybe they just had some down games. But I'm gonna go Michigan State in this one. I think that Tom Izzo is gonna be the better coach, more experience. I think Jeremy Fears, especially if he can get you a double-double, at least 20 and 10, Michigan State is gonna pull it out for sure. I'm going Michigan State. For the next game after that, we got, well, not after that, but on the same day later on today, St. John's versus Duke. I wouldn't be surprised if St. John's take Duke down to the wire. You feel what I'm saying? I think that Duke will pull it out. Boozer Twins, and they just, I'm not gonna lie, Duke is almost like an Arizona and Michigan. They up there with them, like they're just that. I ain't even gonna lie, they're that team right now. You feel what I'm saying? And coming into the tournament, they were the team to beat between them and Arizona. A lot of people were talking about those two. I personally think it's gonna be come down to Michigan and Arizona, but seeing Duke play against like these last 2 games, how they kind of just been coming up a little bit short. You feel what I'm saying? Especially that first game, they barely won. I want to say they won by basically almost a buzzer beater, really a dagger within like the last 30 seconds. It's like, uh, And they kind of came into the tournament a little bit shaky. I think they kind of got their foot in last game, but the Boozer twin, I know he didn't really wake up until the second half last game. So it's like playing against a team like St. John's, who had they have the defensive player of the year in their conference right there. And I want to say it's Ekafor. It's one of those things that it's gonna be a dogfight. This is another game that's gonna be a dogfight. I don't think that Duke is just gonna blow them out the water. I don't think St. John's is gonna come in and blow them out the water. It's two great coaches going head to head with Patino and John Shire. You see what I'm saying? So it's like I'm gonna go Duke. I'm choosing Duke in this one. I think that St. John, they had a great year. You feel what I'm saying? They not really supposed to be a fifth seed, but they are. But I just don't see them beating Duke. I don't. But I think it's gonna be a dogfight. I don't think the spread will be higher than 3 points. You know what I'm saying? I don't think they're gonna win by more than 3 or 4 points. But I think that is gonna be a dogfight for sure. I think it's gonna come down to the wire, and it might even be a dagger or a buzzer beating ass game. So we're gonna see. But give me Duke in that one. The next one, Michigan versus Alabama. Michigan all day. And ain't too much to be said. I think Michigan is gonna blow them out the water. I think it's gonna possibly be a 20-point game. I don't think it's gonna be close at all. Give me Michigan all the way. And for the last game of the night, Tennessee at Iowa State. Now, Iowa State is a team that people were kind of sleeping on. You feel what I'm saying? Obviously, Iowa State always has a team where they're full of shooters and stuff, but playing against a Tennessee team, and I know Tennessee, they're so I don't know. I feel like last year when they had like Zakai Ziegler and all them like that, they were a great team. But this year, I feel like they kind of been getting a little bit lucky, just a little bit. You feel what I'm saying? I think they got luck on their side just a tad bit because I didn't even see them coming into the Sweet 16 for real. I thought they were gonna get put out last round, in the second round. So it's to see them, they got Nate Ammon and shit out there. And they got some dogs that can score the ball whenever they have a great coach out there too, if I'm not mistaken. Uh, well, I ain't gonna get into their coach because that's gonna throw me all the way off right now. But I really feel like me personally, I feel like fucking give me give me Iowa State. I ain't gonna lie. Give me Iowa State to win it. I think that Iowa State just gonna shoot them out the gym. And I I really just I don't know. And I was the name of my on my mind I was thinking about for Tennessee head coach was Rick Barnes, and I knew I wasn't tweaking. So yeah, Rick Barnes is their coach out there. He's a great coach, previous player, now coach. But uh yeah. Give me them boys out there in Iowa State. I ain't gonna lie. I think that they have a team that's just hungry. They kind of like an Iowa team. You feel what I'm saying? A team that you just can't bet against right now, especially with March Madness being March Madness. I don't think you could bet a team against a team like that. So give me Iowa State in that game. And then, as I already said, for the Elite Eight, the two games are Illinois and Iowa so far, and Purdue and Arizona. The other ones are still to be determined with the outcomes of these games tonight. So we'll get deeper into the Elite Eight a little bit next week when they get those results. We'll talk about those and we'll run over these results for the rest of the Sweet 16. But I'm rolling. I'm rocking with this March Madness so far, man. Just to see a lot of these freshmen play. You feel what I'm saying? Obviously, Kingston Fleming, that was my favorite player coming into the tournament between him and Darius Acuff. And Darius Acuff, I feel like shit. He top 3 pick, solidified himself. I feel like AJ DeBancer solidified himself. Dayron Peterson, he possibly solidified him and Cameron Boozer. They possibly solidified themselves as top 5 picks as well. And then it's like it's kind of hard to match up everybody else after that. You feel what I'm saying? I think that it's a lot of great freshmen, a lot of great players, period, that can go, you know what I'm saying, top 14 lottery picks. You feel what I'm saying? So it's going to be a sight to see, especially with the draft coming up. I think that this draft will be one of the greatest drafts ever. Just to see the amount of players that are coming into him, like we could just Dayron Peterson, AJ DeBancer, Darius Acuff, uh, the Yexel kid out of Michigan. You got Keaton Wagler, motherfucking just a lot of players that are coming into the league this year and that are league ready. And if they not, some of them obviously they gonna take the development steps and have to play their role for a little bit. But players like AJ DeBanza, if the Pacers get the number one pick, I've been hearing that they're gonna go Cameron Boozer, which I could kind of understand it because when you have a guard like Tyrese Halliburton, you gonna need you a center. You feel what I'm saying? And he can really come in and be that replacement for Miles Turner. But but to pass on a player like AJ DeBanza is kind of that's a hard thing to do because this could be your superstar for years to come. Not somebody that's just gonna come in and play a role, shit like that. But you can have literally a 1-2 punch. You already got rid of Ben Mathurin. You feel what I'm saying? So Indiana, if y'all get the number one pick, do not pass on AJ DeBanza. This is insane if y'all do. The fans will be pissed. If I was a Pacers fan, I would be pissed if I had the number one pick and I passed on AJ DeBanza. And between them and Utah, we're gonna see who get that number one pick. I think Utah, if they get it, that they are building a squad out there. Don't sleep on Danny Ainge. Don't sleep on him. You feel what I'm saying? If you get AJ DeBanza out there, he's taking over that team. That's his team. That's his team. He's already in Utah. He don't gotta leave. Hopefully the Pacers get that number one pick so they can go ahead and, you know what I'm saying, get them another superstar. I know they traded Ben Mathurin, and that boy is a fucking bucket. I don't know why they would do that. But if you put AJ DeBanza there with Tyrese Halliburton and Pascal Siakam, you could get you a center in free agency. Like, it ain't too hard to find you a solid center. And you could, or get him a solid center in a trade or something like that. So shout out to them. This NBA draft coming up is going to probably be one of the greatest that we've seen in a while. I can't wait to see who's going to go number one, who gets the number one pick. I want to see who's going to go through that 1 through 5 because there's so many picks that you can't go wrong with that 1 through 5. So with that being said, shout out to those players. You feel what I'm saying? Hopefully that everything on draft night goes as planned. Obviously the draft is not till June. So we're going to be looking out for that. But transitioning, since we already in the NBA, they had some expansions. You know what I'm saying? They're talking expansion. So let's go into here. I'm going to pull up the numbers really quick. Let me share my screen with y'all. I know that they've already started votes and stuff like that. So let's go ahead and get here. So buyout. Here we go. NBA Board of Governors, they basically approved a vote for the league to explore bids and applicants for expansion teams exclusively in Las Vegas and Seattle, sources tell ESPN. This is major. I'm not going to lie. As they say, the offers, they're expected to generate at least between $7 to $10 billion dollar range for each team. But to see a team coming back to Seattle is going to be fucking lit. I am not gonna lie. I think that this is a great move for the NBA, not only for their the league as a whole, but just for the fan standpoint of everything. I think that the Seattle fans for years now, they've been waiting since OKC took their franchise. I think that they've been waiting, they've been begging, they've been wanting a team for years now. And it's been big talks even since I was a kid that, oh, Seattle superstars, they're going to come back. The superstars, they're going to come back. So it's like, not only do you get a chance to separate the history between OKC and Seattle, but now you get players like Gary Payton, Sean Kemp, uh, Dolph. Oh, I don't want to mess up his middle name, but the Dolph S. We're gonna say Dolph S. They get a chance to have their numbers actually retired out there. You get what I'm saying? You get to celebrate that championship in the '70s that they won. You get to celebrate the finals runs that they did have in the '90s. Their jerseys, fire. We got to bring back the colors, the original Supersonic colors, the throwback jersey. Obviously, they might have a newer or like a more updated jersey scheme or whatever, but you got to bring back the OG jerseys too. Like this color, I was just actually seeing some old pictures of Ray Allen with him and his Jordans and shit like that he used to wear, and the colorways that he had, it's like heat. I ain't even gonna lie, fire. I'm ready to see a team in Seattle, but Las Vegas is even more lit when you think about it. Just to see how the Raiders fans go out there, the Aces fans are out there. Now you bring an NBA team to Vegas on top of all the extra entertainment. That's just the place to be. It looked like it's about to become the next Hollywood when you really think about it. Like Vegas is expanding crazy. They just got 3 new teams in a matter of fucking what, a few years maybe, like 2, 3 years. They've gotten an NFL team, well, I know that Aces have been there for, like, a good amount of time now, but I'm pretty sure they were talking about getting a baseball team out there too. So it's like, on top of all the entertainment, you go to an NBA game for the kids and shit like that. Nighttime come, the adults could go hit the strip, go hit Fremont Street, go hit whatever they wanna do. You feel what I mean? So not only that, the players, they get a chance to really, really, uh, feel the love of playing in a high-spirited city. So it's like, I ain't gonna lie, I think the players and the fans, it's a con not a con, but a pro for both of them. The only con would be is shit, just all night drinking. You can party at any time that you want to. That's the only issue that the players will probably have, but outside of that, it's like, shit, hey, they rocking, I'm rolling. I'm excited to see those 2 teams, or 2 cities get a team. But, what I really wanna see is the expansion draft. I think that the expansion draft would be it'll be a sight to see, honestly, because you have teams that's like OKC, that's like motherfucking, Denver, or fucking teams that have deep benches. You get what I'm saying? That these players can come off the bench and go play at any given moment. Such as, for example, like I said before, OKC. We saw them, their whole starting 5, Shai, Lou Dort, motherfucking Cason Wallace, Chet, and goddamn Isaiah Hartenstein all be out at the same time. They played their bench and still win games. Or still, when they played Denver, they didn't have any of their starting 5 and lost by 5 points. You saw J-Dub, or Jalen Williams, the other Jalen Williams as they call him. He came off the bench and scored 30 and 10 against the Denver Nuggets. So it's like, and not only does he give these type of players like a chance to actually uh get to a spot where they can play more and win still, but I want to see what stars are going to get traded because, like we see, Ja Morant, he hurt again out there in Memphis. Memphis, they haven't been the same since they had that whole turmoil with Ja. I know they traded Jaren Jackson, so I wouldn't be surprised if the expansion drive hits and they make him available. You get what I'm saying? Uh, and with that, even speaking on the Grizzlies, you feel what I'm saying? They and the Timberwolves, if these 2 expansion teams do go through, they will both be moving to the Eastern Conference. So that's something that's going to shake up the league, which we're going to get to that a little bit later down the line. But the expansion draft, I'm ready. I really want to see what teams are going to give up what players because you have teams like OKC that have lottery picks all the way through 2031. So it's like, hey, I'm ready to see who they're gonna give up. I want to see what other teams are going, what star players are gonna get moved around because these other teams, these 2 new teams out there on the West Coast, they're gonna need a start. They're gonna need a star to get their franchise up and running. So shout out to these expansion franchises. I can't wait to see what these are gonna look like, the jerseys that's gonna come out, the players that's gonna be there, the stadiums alone, because I wonder if they're gonna try to put the Supersonics in their original nostalgic stadium or they're gonna build them a whole new dome glass stadium like they doing in all these other places. So shout out to the expansion team. Shout out to the NBA. I can't wait to see what's going to come next with that. But back to this information with the Timberwolves and the Grizzlies, with these 2 West Coast teams or West Coast cities gaining teams, they would be both be moving to the Eastern Conference. Now, what does that do? That shakes up the whole East because right now when you look at it, it's Boston, New York. I guess you could put Cleveland in there, and I guess a healthy Milwaukee, you can't really count out Giannis. You get what I'm saying? So just to know that the Celtics are running the East right now, because when you get a fully healthy Jason Tatum, I don't see the Knicks beating them. I don't see the Cavs beating them. You feel what I'm saying? Their team is just from top to bottom set. So I personally believe that if you move these two teams into the East, the Timberwolves would instantly take over the number one spot. They would be running the East automatically. Because you have to understand, if they can maintain a third seed in the West when you playing against the Jokic, Shai, Wemby, bro, you can't take out Bron and Luka. You can never lead them two out. Like, when you playing against that amount of stars and how tight the races are in the West every single year, it's one of those things that I don't think that nobody in the East can really compete for them. I think that it's gonna look like that Cavs team when Bron came back and they just went to the finals damn near fucking 6 straight years or 4 or 5 straight seasons. They went straight to the finals. That's what's gonna happen with the Timberwolves. And not only that, they'll be able to rest their stars a little bit more and be more prepared for for the finals. Because when you think about it, you only need fucking what, 40 wins to make it to the playoffs in the East. So it's not like they're gonna have to play Ant every single night. They don't have to play Julius Randle every single night. Where like kind of like last year, Ant was even saying after that series with the Lakers in the first round, he was almost damn near gassed. He ain't had no legs under him, nothing. So when he got to OKC, it was like, fuck. Yeah, they got swept because he didn't have it. He was fatigued. So imagine if y'all are getting out, y'all busting these teams' ass early. You get to rest your stars. So now when the finals do come around, you do run into a team like OKC, the Spurs, or even Denver. It's like, shit. It might be a whole nother look. You get what I'm saying? And the Grizzlies, yeah, they got to get well soon because obviously Ja was the face of their team and he's not playing. He's almost going into his like Derrick Rose effect a little bit where he's just injured consistently. So it's like, hopefully he could get well soon. I don't see the Grizz. I feel like the Grizzlies would fit better in the East. But when Ja is playing and they are healthy, they're easily a 50-win team. So it's like those two teams moving to the East would definitely shake up a lot. I'm not gonna lie. I think that it'd be a better situation for the Timberwolves because not only that, now you can see Ant-Man play against teams like fucking Charlotte, Orlando, you know what I'm saying? Motherfucking the Heat and bust their ass and possibly get a chance to win MVP. You get what I'm saying? Because in the West, he kind of get a shout out over because you got, look what Shai doing. You got Nikola Jokic out there, a triple double. Luka fucking hooping, doing what he does. Only player in the East that's even in the running right now is between, I want to say, like Jaylen Brown and Cade Cunningham. And Cade Cunningham, he's out right now with a collapsed lung. We don't know when he's coming back. So it's like, to hear that the Timberwolves and the Memphis Grizzlies are possibly going to the Eastern Conference, I think it's going to be lit. I think it's going to be something that is going to be good, beneficial for the East Coast because the East, they always talk bad about, and it adds two good teams back over there. You get what I'm saying? So shout out to those two franchises. Shout out to Ant-Man. I hope that this is what you need to finally be able to separate from everybody else in your class. But it's lit. It's lit for sure. You feel what I'm saying? I think that this is the move that the NBA needs to make, and they should have probably made it way before now. So yeah. But before we transition into the MVP race in the NBA, I want to kind of go over this WNBA agreement. As you can see, the new starting salary cap is up to $7 million, up from 1.5 million, plus a new 20% revenue share across. They're about to start getting way more money, way more excitement. These women are actually be able to only have to play in the WNBA. As you can see, the Supermax is moving up to starting at 1.4 million. You have the salary minimum is moving above 300K, which was originally at 66K. It's about to bring out the dog in a lot of these women. It's about to bring out a lot of competition, a lot more competition. I know a lot of people say the WNBA is not as competitive because they don't have people dunking every single night and shit like that. But these are pro athletes and they're being treated like that. And I'm happy, more than happy to see that because not only are the numbers there, but they're protecting the players now. Like if a woman is pregnant and she's on a trading block, they have to agree. The player and the organization have to agree on where to send that pregnant woman. So it's not like, oh, in the middle of her season, she's pregnant, she got about to prepare for a baby. and all of a sudden she's traded from fucking California to New York. You feel what I'm saying? From LA to play from the Sparks to the Liberty. So it's like, shout out to the WNBA for actually protecting their players now, giving them more money, because now we get to see players like fucking Alicia Gray, fucking Nafisa Colliver, Aja Wilson, fucking goddamn Jewel Lloyd. You know what I'm saying? Like, uh to see these players, they're finally finna get paid. Like, I'm pretty sure they were saying that the base, or Aja Wilson's base salary coming in or last season was like $200K. And so now with a Supermax starting at 1.4 million, it's like, shit, she about to make a bag on top of her endorsement deals. She's actually, and she's I'm not gonna lie. For everything that she's done already for the WNBA, she's got to be a top 5 player ever to play in the WNBA. Just because of look how she does like these other women out there. Like, is she basically like their version they can't stop her. She's like their Shaq or their Kobe or something like that. Like, it's insane. I ain't even gonna lie. Like, Audra Wilson finally getting her pay. Nafisa College, she get her pay. All these players. And not only that, I was kind of watching the 520 podcast, and what they brought out too was like, it's going to bring out so much competition, because now you got the players that can be like, oh, well, her numbers look just like mine and she can pay this, so I want this now. You feel what I'm saying? And so be ready to see all the different talk in the media that's about to happen. All the different drama coming against these women. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna bring some excitement to the league. You feel me? So shout out to the women's league. You feel what I'm saying? I'm so glad that they finally getting paid now, because they deserve it. And I know a lot of people don't watch women's basketball, especially WNBA wise. But if you haven't tapped in, you need to, because they be hooping. Like, I was watching Unrivaled, that 1v1 shit. They need to adopt that shit in the NBA, because bro, the way they was hooping, that shit actually had me sitting there like, damn, okay, like, you feel me? Yeah, they had some weak ass moves. I know they was on one of their Chelsea Gray ass for doing that weak ass little, you feel me, shimmy, turn around, Jay. Like, yeah, that shit was ass, but they really be hooping. I ain't gonna lie, they really be hooping. So shout out to the women. I'm so glad y'all finally getting paid and y'all getting protected, especially for the pregnant women out there that are still hooping. Y'all don't even have to go to Turkey no more. Y'all don't have to go to Greece no more. Y'all don't have to go overseas to play 2 seasons just to get paid. You know what I'm saying? So now they can play their regular WNBA season and then go to Unrivaled if they want to. So not only does it help the WNBA, but it also helps Unrivaled, because now that you get more players that's probably going to participate. So shout out to them. Shout out to both leagues. I'm so excited to see that. I wonder what they have in store. If they're, when this one is over, are they going to try to do another hike if the money is, refunneling itself? So their season starts, I want to say, at beginning of June. So shout out to them. Hopefully everything goes as planned with that. And yeah, I can't wait to see the competition part hit everything. So the last topic of the day, we're gonna talk about the MVP race in the NBA. Right now, I know the top 5, and this is no order, but the top 5 right now is between Shai, Luka, Jokic, Victor Wembanyama, and Cade Cunningham. That was the last MVP ladder that I saw. Obviously, like I said, Cade Cunningham right now is out with a collapsed lung, so he may miss the rest of the season. I'm pretty sure the season ends April 13th, so he's probably gonna be out until like the first round of the playoffs. So hopefully get well soon to him. He's becoming one of my favorite players in the league, top 5 player in the league for sure. I think he's averaging like 25 and 10 right now. So shout out to Cade Cunningham. I hope he can get well soon. The Pistons are still winning, but I don't know. So that's a good sign. But shout out to Cade, man. I hope he can get back on the court real soon. But this MVP race is one of the tightest and closest MVP races that we've seen in a long time. You got Luka, who just went on a tear these last 2 weeks. He had a 60-point game, a 50-point game, a 31-point triple-double, and they've won at like 11 out of their last 12, or 12 out of like their last 13, 14 games. They've been winning. So Luka, he's been on a tear. Obviously, Shai, we know what Shai does. He's averaging like 31, 32 points per game on 50% shooting. So, yeah, his team can win without him. We've seen that multiple times. But we also see him play against these big name teams, and he putting them to bed. He's dropping 30 on them, giving them the daggers at the end. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, they just lost to Boston not too long ago. I want to say yesterday or the day before that. He was saying, "Oh, we didn't live up to the test." So even for them to be a great team and still have that mentality, like, shit, we still not where we need to be yet. That's a great, great sign to see. So to see, obviously, Shai was gonna be in there. Jokic, and I gotta give Jokic his props, man. Jokic is one of those players that I feel like he's getting that fan or voters fatigue right now. But averaging a triple double, like the man is basically averaging 23, 12, and like 13 right now. And it's fucking insane. Like that we just kind of looking over this like, oh, well, he could possibly be MVP. Like, no, no. Like, I'm a huge Russell Westbrook fan. And when Russell Westbrook did this shit for 4 seasons, I was like, why are we just overlooking this shit? You feel what I'm saying? Everybody made it seem like it was just normal to do, or oh, we stat pad him. But even when you stat pad, like, you not finna get fucking 42 triple doubles in one season. Like, that shit is insane. And to average a triple double is insane, bro. So it's one of the things like Jokic, I think he's going through kind of what LeBron went through a couple years back when he had that when obviously when LeBron was in his prime, like 2018, he should have won MVP. LeBron should have, but they gave it to James Harden. You feel what I'm saying? And don't get me wrong, James Harden had a great year, but it's like he averaged what, like 36 points. But to see what Bron did in 2018, it's like I don't know if James Harden should have won that shit. I understand the points of what he was doing offensively wise, but Bron literally put the Cleveland Cavaliers on his back and fucking carried them motherfuckers all the way to the finals. So, and dropped a 51-point triple double in that finals. So it's like, I feel like this is what's happening to Jokic right now. I think that after he won his second or third MVP, they was kind of like, okay, on to the next. You feel what I'm saying? So shout out to Jokic. I just want to give him his props now because it's like that shit's not normal, and we got to stop overlooking these triple doubles like it's just a normal thing. You feel what I'm saying? When it's not at all. Um, then you can move on to Luka. I think that honestly, if the MVP was given today and we had to break it down between players, Shai right now is my favorite player. Obviously, he plays for my favorite team, but I would give it to Luka. You feel what I'm saying? Just because of what Luke, like, you can't really stop him. I think he's well overdue for MVP, especially to see the way he's been hooping offensively. I think he's picked it up just a tad bit on the defensive side. I know he's ass on the defensive end of the ball. Like, they attack him a lot, but he look like he's getting a little bit better, especially with them winning now. He's not passing up shots like he was before at the end of the games. So I really, really, really feel like if anybody gets it, and nobody would have anything to say, it'll be Luka. You know, because, like I said, I think he deserves it. I think that it's very, very hard to go against somebody that's deserved it these last few years, and now when it's finally time, okay, I think it's the time to give it to him. I think it's finally time to give it to him. I'm not gonna lie. I think it's finally time to give it to him. So shout out to Luka. I think that he possibly has a chance to really win MVP this year between him and Shai. I think it's gonna come down between those two. Uh Wemby. And here goes my rant on Wemby because to campaign for MVP is kind of crazy. You feel what I'm saying? Like, most people that win MVP, they're not going around saying, oh, I deserve MVP because of this, 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 and this. Like, no, we're not doing that. I understand your passion for the game. I understand that you are just, you know what I'm saying? You really, you love it. You really want this award. You feel what I'm saying? You really feel like you deserve it. Nobody expected the Spurs to be second in the West. You feel what I'm saying? But it's one of those things like, okay, one of the reasons he said that he deserves is because they swept OKC or almost swept OKC. Bro, one of those games you scored 10 points. Y'all really won because of your team. You have a great team around you, a great defensive team around you with a great coach in Mitch Johnson. So it's like, I personally believe that Wemby, he's great. You feel what I'm saying? But I just don't think it's his time yet. I think that if you give him the MVP right now, it kind of shuts the doors for other players like Anthony Edwards and Cade Cunningham, those players that's coming up, because it's like, look what they're doing. Look what Ant-Man did. He took the fucking Timberwolves to the Western Conference Finals twice. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like, ugh. Wemby hasn't really won any playoff games, or I think he hasn't won a playoff game yet. So it's one of those things that, yeah, he's having a great year. I think he's averaging like 24 and 11 with 3 blocks, but it's one of those things that I'm not ready to give to him yet. I understand his whole campaign shit is cool, whatever, but nah, not yet for Wemby. Not yet for Wemby. But if I had to give my pick, obviously, if I'm not gonna be biased with Shai, I really do believe that Shai, between him and Jokic, should get it. But I just got a crazy feeling in my spirit that they're gonna give it to Luka, just because of what the Lakers have done to end the season and how he's been hooping to end the season. So shout out, I think Luka's gonna get it this year. Shout out to Luka. If he does get it, if he doesn't, shout out whoever does. Uh, but I don't think you can really go wrong with the MVP this year, just because of how their top 5 are hooping. With that being said, it's been a great episode, man. I hope y'all really enjoyed this episode. I'm gonna try to keep y'all more up to date with March Madness more than I have been. I know I'm kind of all over the place with it, but trying to get back to my 2 episode dropping for y'all, because I know that at first we was dropping 2 episodes every week, but I'm kind of limited it down to Sundays. So this Sunday I have another one out for y'all. It'll be a culture news pie. Just catching up what's going on in the news right now. I know we've been having a lot with Jay-Z coming back. So we got a lot to talk about coming up soon. So I'll see y'all very soon. Make sure y'all take accountability in any and everything that y'all do. Wake up with intentions to be a great person. Be a great person. And always follow through with anything that y'all say y'all gonna do. It's your host, Hav, and I get up with y'all with the next one. It's real soon.
In this life that I'm living, I pray I make it through the night as I ride through my city.